Hey, welcome. Today we're going to talk about a plant that is oftentimes known as the Plan B plant. So it's a great herbal contraceptive, and it is Queen Anne's lace. It's kind of funny for me to be talking about it right now because I am about 20 weeks pregnant, but still this plant is one of my homegirls and I love her very much. Obviously I'm not using her right now, but I think it's something great for people to have on hand for when you may need it. So hello, welcome. If you don't know me, my name's Abigail. I'm just here to talk about herbs. I love to teach and converse about herbs. And now that I'm 20 weeks pregnant and I have my creative juices flowing, I'm like so inspired to sit here and talk about my favorite plants with you. So hi, welcome. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, do all the things. Thank you so much. Queen Anne's lace. First, where can we find her? And how can we find her? There's a couple key things to talk about here. I think the first thing I'm gonna say is that there is some lookalikes. There's quite a few lookalikes. It's one of those plants that when you really get to know her, you know her, and there will be no confusion. You'll be able to pick her out and recognize her compared to all of the lookalikes. But I think it's always really great to go with somebody who is experienced for your first time foraging, because there are a lot of lookalikes and one of them is deadly. So be careful, for real. Some of the key things that I look for in Queen Anne's lace to identify her and not pick her lookalikes is the shape of her flowers. The umbrella kind of shape. The flowers are very small and very white. And then oftentimes in many of the flowers, at least a few per stand, they have a beautiful little red dot right in the middle of the plant. To me, that's a doctrine of signatures. So a doctrine of signatures is when a plant looks, feels, smells, has some sort of significance that actually has some sort of meaning of like what the medicine is of the plant. And so the cute little red flower right in the middle of the plant is like a little period stain, if you ask me. But so that's a very unique thing that Queen Anne's lace has that I haven't seen any of her lookalikes have. Coffee's done. Beep, beep. Another couple things are that it's white, right? There's plants that look like her that are yellow, so you're gonna look for white flowers, and it has hairy stems. So a saying goes that Queen Anne has hairy legs. So her lookalikes don't have hairy stems, so you're gonna look for all the little hairs on her legs. And again, once you get to know her, you'll recognize her. Her lookalikes oftentimes are bigger, smaller, near the water. It's water parsnip that we're really looking out for, but there's a bunch that kind of could look like her, even like innocent ones like yarrow. So it's always important to know your plants when you're picking them. I have seen her grow in just about every spot in the States, but here in Wisconsin, she grows so abundantly all over the place. She's really a prairie plant. So you'll see her in the prairies, along the roadsides, things like that. So hopefully there's some at a place that you frequent so that you know that this plant is her, so that when she starts to kind of do this action, that's when you harvest. So it's her little seeds are still a little bit green and not fully brown, and you can go and clip them and just collect them in a bowl. And you can store them just like that, or you can start processing them at that point. So usually you're gonna go and harvest late summer, early fall type of time. Yeah, so you'll take all the little seeds, you'll put it in your jar. You can simply store it like that and use it when you need it just like that. Or you can make a tincture out of it. The most important part when you're using Queen Anne's lace in tincture form or straight up just eating it, don't make a tea I just don't think it would work very well, and you would need so much and it wouldn't taste good. Just eat it or use the tincture. But is that you're gonna crush it. So you can take a little seed and taste it in your mouth. And when you taste it, you should be able to really, like, your mouth is gonna get kind of tight and you can taste all the flavors, and that's what you need. But if you just swallow the tiny little seed, you're not gonna taste it. And it might just go through your digestive tract without actually breaking open. And that's where the medicine is. So you need to make sure, if you're making a tincture out of it, you crush it first. Or if you're purchasing a tincture from somebody who has made it for you, that they crushed it first. So you can connect with them and ask them, just double check that it is crushed rather than just the whole seed. So otherwise you can pop it in your mouth and chew her up. Before I talk about when to take it and how to take it, I just want to talk about how it actually works. So this plant is technically not an abortifacient. So there's plants that will work as an abortifacient, which means that it will actually, this is really harsh to say, but I'm just going to say it because it's the way it is and it's the truth. And I'm just speaking the truth here. So there's plants that are abortifacients that will actually kill the fetus. Sometimes you want to do that. Sometimes maybe people want to do that. But Queen Anne's lace actually doesn't do that. Queen Anne's lace works by making the inside of the uterus, so the uterus lining, the endometrium, slippery. So that if an egg does get fertilized, it would then take a couple days and implant inside of the uterus on that endometrium, inside of the uterus lining. And if it's too slippery and just can't hang on, it's just gonna go out and you're just gonna have your period. So it's kind of a gentle, sweet way of doing it. So now when to take it, right? It's only gonna work if you take it in like the perfect timing, the perfect amount. The very first step is to understand your cycle. Before trying to just use this as a plan B, you need to be able to understand your cycle. You need to be able to understand when you're fertile versus when you are not fertile and there's no egg that can be fertilized, right? So you have only about a 5 to 7 day time during your cycle that you could actually get pregnant. And during this time, if sperm enters you, and even shorter if you really know your ovulation, but I'm just gonna say 5 to 7 days for somebody who might have like a little bit of few day flux. If sperm enters you because you had because you had a really passionate night full of fun and love, and yeah, so if sperm enters you, you know how that happens. That's when you want to take Queen Anne's lace, only during that fertile phase. And you'll take it right after, like a plan B. The best time to do it is about 8 hours after sperm has entered you. And then again, in the next 8 hours and the next 8 hours. And you might have to set an alarm. But seriously, every 8 hours for about 3 days. And yeah, you might have to wake up in the middle of the night and just munch on it. So the dosage is going to be, my favorite way to do it is just with the seed. It's just a tablespoon of the seed. And you munch on it. And I keep making that because it's important to chew the seeds, right? Remember to get all of the medicine out of the seeds. Or you'll take a dropper full, not a whole tincture, of the tincture every 8 hours too. And some people say you want to start it earlier. So I think it wouldn't hurt to just, oops, that happened, to go right to your medicine cabinet and take it immediately. I think, it's really important for us to have this type of awareness, because maybe some people don't want to be taking birth control. And yet birth control has been so powerful for women empowerment to be able to have control of our bodies and just not get pregnant when we don't want to, when a guy comes in us. But We also know that there's some serious side effects to birth control. I'm not going to get into that all right now because that could be a huge whole video on itself. Maybe I'll make a video on that if you're curious about it, but maybe we don't want to take birth control because we want to protect our long-term hormonal health. And still, when we have full body autonomy, it is empowering. And so the first step, again, is to really understand your cycle. Start listening to it. I wouldn't rely on Queen Anne's Lace for at least a few months after listening and watching your cycle. And then Queen Anne's Lace can be so potent and powerful if you know when you're fertile, if you know when to not get sperm inside of you. I'll tell you, I'm pregnant now, and it's not because I didn't use Queen Anne's Lace or I did it wrong or whatever. I've been using fertility awareness method. I'm 27 years old, and I've been using it for my whole sexual life. So a long time, yeah, lots of sex and some not protected, and it worked. It worked so fully. And I thought maybe it would take me some time to try, and we did it and it worked, right? And so I just know that all of the other times that I've done it and I've used Queen Anne's Lace, it also worked. And I've heard from so many other people that it works too. So really, it's a potent medicine to just have on hand as a oopsies, just in case. So yeah, go find yourself some Queen Anne's Lace if you're looking to have an herbal plan B or an herbal contraceptive. And I think that's about it. I'm just gonna show you my cat because he just walked up. So I feel like he wants to be in the video. See, he just meowed. Here's Carter and my baby belly. Woo. This is Carter Farter. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. He loves me, I swear.